Hello everybody, and welcome to an album review of the new James Blake album, Assume Form. Assume Form is the fourth studio album from the critically acclaimed London singer and electronic music producer James Blake. After a series of well-received underground EPs in the very late 2000s, James Blake exploded onto the music scene with his full-length self-titled debut album in 2011. This album still stands, in my opinion, as one of the more essential debut albums of the 2010s, as well as one of the defining moments for electronic music and alternative R&B this decade. James would go on to release two more albums, Overgrown in 2013 and The Color in Anything in 2016, and while I'm not as crazy about those albums, they are still pretty interesting records. They're still worth a listen. Notably, in recent years, he's been a pretty in-demand featured artist. He's appeared on everything from the Black Panther soundtrack to Travis Scott's Astroworld. And that brings us to James Blake's newest album, Assume Form. James's music has always been pretty melancholy in the past, but Assume Form is actually a pretty radical emotional departure for him. Inspired by his relationship with his girlfriend, the actress Jameela Jamil, Assume Form is James Blake's happiest, most romantic body of work to date. Sure, the moments of darkness are still there, but even these bits are permeated by the optimism that seeps into every part of this album. One of the reasons I was really excited for this album, aside from it always being nice to hear new music from James Blake, was that the feature list is stacked. There's a lot of big names on here. For one, Travis Scott, as well as the trap super producer Metro Boomin. He provides beats on a couple of the tracks here. Rising R&B star Moses Sumney makes an appearance, as well as one of Spanish music's most powerful contemporary voices, Rosalía, who, if you remember, released one of my favorite albums of 2018, El Mal Querer. And also, Mr. Andre Benjamin 3000 of Outkast fame, one of my favorite musicians of all time. So I was pretty excited to hear how these collaborations would pan out. And I'm pretty happy to report none of the collaborative tracks on this album disappoint. The song Mile High with Travis Scott and Metro Boomin is a really mellow, sleek, but melodically sweet trap banger. Tell Them with Moses Sumney and Metro Boomin is one of the most urgent tracks on the entire album. The beat is super propulsive, and Moses Sumney's falsetto vocals on the chorus add a unique and intriguing sense of uneasiness to the track. Barefoot in the Park with Rosalía exceeds expectations and stands as one of the most singularly beautiful and sensual moments on the entire album. Despite their deviating singing styles, James's delicate croon and Rosalía's powerful vibrato really find some nice common ground on this song and color the song's seductive beat with some heavenly vocal harmonies. And then you've got Where's the Catch with Andre 3000, which is one of the darkest and trippiest moments on the entire album. I love the warped, wailing guitar samples and feedback that kind of whir throughout the mix. I love how agitated and weary some of James's vocals sound here as he's just going, "Where's the catch?" And I mean, Andre 3000 just kills his verse, obviously. It's not one of his most fiery or acrobatic verses, but it is an immensely personal and introspective moment for him that I love a lot. As much as these collaborators shine, James's sole musical strengths still rely on his solo tracks. Case in point, the song Into the Red, another one of my absolute favorites on this album. I love the plinking pianos and swelling strings throughout this song, and I also really adore the lyrics on this song, where James is comparing this love he's found with his girlfriend to discovering gold. He calls her the gold rush. And it's so cute, it's so nice, he's so in love, I love it. She was the gold rush! Add one passionate monster of a crescendo in the second half, and you have a really potent ballad, and a real highlight on the album. The song I'll Come Too is maybe the cutest song on the whole album, and it's just another delightful tribute to his girlfriend, as is the song Can't Believe the Way We Flow. While it isn't one of Assume Form's most structurally defined songs, it still stands as an interesting and essential part of the track listing for its psychedelic, almost vaguely dream pop inspired vibe, fantastic reverb, and vocal harmonies all over this song. And the album also ends very impressively with two of my favorite songs on the whole album, the tracks Don't Miss It and Lullaby for My Insomniac. Don't Miss It is another beautiful ballad that actually comes with one of the album's most powerful messages. In this song, James is reflecting on the years of his life that he has lost to anxiety and being too anxious and afraid to seek out new experiences, and it serves as almost a cautionary tale, telling the listener not to miss the things that he did. As inherently sad as that sounds in concept, a really admirable sense of hope comes through in the powerful singing, as well as the glimmering, building instrumental. And even though the closer, Lullaby for My Insomniac, is perhaps the quietest and most sparse song on the entire album, and that's saying something, it still stands as one of the most emotionally resonant and beautiful. The first minute or so of this song is comprised only of these soothing synth tones and James's vocals, but as the song goes on, the mix really starts to fill out with these beautiful, luscious, multi-layered vocal harmonies, really some of the most impressive and breathtaking vocal layering I've heard in quite a while. These incredible dense harmonies really make the song into an incredibly soothing yet powerful outro to the album. Now, as much as I really love the sentiments of this album and love most of the tracks on here, it's not a perfect album. There are a few tracks in the track listing. While I do really like the sentiment and the lyrics of the track Power On, it is one of the most repetitive and least melodically inspired songs in the track list. The song Are You in Love is probably the least instrumentally sound track on the album, as the thick synth line probably could have been implemented a lot better, and the flat, droning beat leaves a lot to be desired. And for as strong as this album finishes, it does start on kind of an awkward note with the title track. While it is easy on the ears and it does encompass a lot of interesting ideas, they never really come together in a super compelling way, which just kind of leaves the song feeling kind of meh as the start to the album. I guess you could say the ideas on that song never assume form. Haha! Still though, aside from those minor complaints, Assume Form still stands as a beautiful, bright, and romantic revelation from James Blake. I guess for a score, I'm probably feeling like an easy 8 out of 10. And a recommendation for sure. Great album. And also on a side note, I'm personally pretty happy for James here, as he seems to be in a much better emotional state than he does on his previous work, so good on him. So yeah, that's pretty much all my thoughts on the new James Blake album, Assume Form. I think it's really beautiful. I think you should listen to it. And I think that's gonna do it for this video. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.